Neil Blomkamp was asked questions about his new movie is Elysium, which was showcased at Comic-Con. Not gonna talk about much of the stuff at the panel because a lot of the stuff I didn't want to spoil myself because some of the websites said there was kind of spoilers material, so I didn't want to spoil it for myself, so I didn't read anything. But some of the questions he was asked. Neil Blomkamp, by the way, before I go on, did direct District 9, that came out, was it 2009, 2008? So that's why I'm mentioning it because I was a huge fan of his. I was a huge fan of District 9, and he was also the man that was going to bring Halo to the big screen, but obviously that didn't happen. So he was asked what would he say about the film since it's being kept so secretive. This is his answer. It's a film about an orbital space station that has the rich living in it, while Earth is diseased and has been left behind. With the money and resources having left, Matt Damon, because he's the star of the movie, is from Earth, and Jodie Foster, also starring in the film, is from the space station. What sort of themes are addressed in the movie? He says the film definitely has elements of the haves and have-nots, and a discrepancy in wealth that seems to be the widening gap. But hopefully in the film, hopefully it is a film where that is woven into the story in a way that feels like it's organic, that it feels like an organic science fiction thrill ride. The themes are touched upon, hopefully in a fairly realistic, not over the top way. Of course, finally he was asked what was it like to work with a bigger budget. Say making the film was enjoyable as making District 9, maybe fractionally more enjoyable because politically it was more stable. It wasn't scary. Basically, I had an easy time because the performers are just really good. Your job as a director is incredibly limited. You just go to get coffee and watch the video assist monitors while other people work. It was easy. It was easy. Is my bottom line. Hanging out with Charlotte Copley, who's also in the film. He's also starred in District 9. A slightly different context was cool. There were moments where it definitely felt like we're doing parts from District 9 again. So there you go. So little tidbits of him working on Elysium. Let's move on. Okay, this is going into the Hobbit panel, not necessarily the Hobbit panel, but a rumor suggested that Peter Jackson was going to direct a third Hobbit movie. That's right, a third Hobbit movie. Variety reports that Peter Jackson shot more footage than expected during the making of The Hobbit, an unexpected journey in The Hobbit there and back again, making a third film feasible. And the word at Comic-Con this year was Jackson would announce the trilogy at the Warner Bros. Panel on Saturday, but studio spokesperson has apparently told Variety that there are no planned or surprise announcements involving a third film, as the plan was always for two. However, Jackson went on record at Comic-Con that he wants to shoot more footage for The Hobbit. According to sources, Jackson said that it could turn into two things. One, there could be an extended version, or two, Jackson may add a third chapter to The Hobbit. The first Hobbit film is set to hit theaters worldwide on December 10th, while the sequel will be released on December 13th of 2013. So that's kind of the little a little leeway into the Hobbit panel, which included Peter Jackson, Philia Bowens. She wrote the Lord of the Rings trilogy with Jackson, along with another writer. They also had Richard Armitage. He plays Thorin Oakenshield. I guess that's one of the dwarves. I'm not sure who he is. Martin Freeman, who plays the Bilbo Baggins, and Sir Ian McKellen, who of course plays Gandalf, who took the stage to a rousing standing ovation because he is, of course, Ian McKellen. Ian McKellen also did something really cool for the fans. He also visited the fans who were camped out for the panel, and a quote-unquote surprise panelist was Elijah Wood, who of course plays Frodo from the original Lord of the Rings trilogy. Sorry, I'm just lost my place. There we go. Jackson played a 12.5-minute reel for the audience, showing multiple things. The first was Gandalf, Bilbo, and the dwarves with some humor They also sold Rivendell, Christopher Lee as Saruman, and Stephen Fry as Master of Lake Town. This is going to get really, really specific to the Hobbit fans, so if you're not a Hobbit fan, you probably don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Be honest, I barely know what the hell I'm talking about, because I've never read The Hobbit. But I know some of the history behind it, so anyway. Then a scene that showed Gandalf getting into action with his sword and staff combo. We briefly saw that in a teaser that came out earlier this year, or late last year. Followed by a scene between Gandalf and Garendel, played by Cate Blanchett. She plays the queen. I don't know. Is she queen? I don't know if she's queen. She was in the first movie. She was the one with the white dress, the one in the kind of the foresty safe haven. See, this is not Lord of the Rings. Okay, nothing against Lord of the Rings, because I do like the movies and I do watch the movies. I don't know much of the backstory behind Lord of the Rings. Like, I know some of the backstory, but not a lot of backstory. So don't hate me. Anyway, let's move on. A scene between Bilbo and Gollum, which showed a newly rendered Gollum, and some describe the design of Gollum as more lifelike than before. Of course, all the years of CGI between now and then probably helped. It also appears that they've done some subtle work to make him look younger than he does in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's always those little small things. It's always small things. Bilbo and Gollum participated in what they call the Game of Riddles, and laughs were abundant amongst the crowd, so I guess it's a very humorous scene between the two there. Andy Serkis, of course, will reprise his role as Gollum. He was also there at the panel. Forgot to mention that in the beginning. The last sequence was a montage of a supposed great-looking action scene that was, most people speculated that was from the second movie, that showed the trolls, a quick look at Evangeline Lilly's character. Of course, she's from Lost, and a shot of Orlando Bloom as Legolas drawing an arrow and aiming it at a group of dwarves. Legolas is returning. Some of the cast members, Elijah Wood will make a cameo. I know they said he would come back for like a small role. Orlando Bloom would come back. And I think that's it. I think that's the only returning members besides Andy Serkis and Ian McKellen and everybody else involved that was part of the actual Hobbit book. The Evangeline Lilly's character, though, I forgot what they named her. She's in there somewhere. Oh, we'll get to her. So it's in the story. Okay, never mind. I'll get to that when I get to it. Anyway, the footage was not shown in the 48 frames per second, which Peter Jackson is so he's riding the cocktails on that one because he wants audiences to see the 48 frames per second, which of course at VidCon, which is another Comic-Con convention, that's mostly for movie theaters and stuff. He played the 48 frames per second, which nobody really liked, so he showed the footage in 24 frames per second. That's really nerdy, by the way. 48 frames per second is kind of like what real life is. So it's almost like you're watching a movie in almost real time. Kind of like an old. Go online and look up old Doctor Who episodes. That's kind of what 48 frames per second is. 24 frames per second is what we usually see a movie in. So. Bowens, one of the writers, revealed that Grenendale was the most powerful being in the Middle Earth during the time of the Hobbit, so they wanted her to include her in the film. That's the character played by Cate Blanchett. They created a character called Tauriel. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right. Which is played by Evangeline Lilly, so they can bring more of a feminine energy into the film. Bowens said they believe it's completely in the spirit of Tolkien's books, and Lilly was. Evangeline Lilly was animate that they'd stay true to the Tolkien vision. And Andy Serkis was only supposed to come back for 2 weeks to play Gollum. Then a month before he was about to go to New Zealand. Frank Walsh, which was one of the I don't know if she was one of the producers or the other writer, emailed him to ask if he would like to come down for a year and a half to direct Second Unit. Now, Second Unit, for those of you who don't know, is most of the time, Second Unit is action stuff. It's like stunt work and all the action stuff that sometimes the director won't film. That's kind of when they use like stunt doubles and everything. So Second Unit is kind of I'm not saying Second Unit isn't important because it really is, but the fact that they, Andy Serkis, they trust, and I think even Andy Serkis did some Second Unit for Rise of the Planet of the Apes, or I know he did second unit for. I don't remember if it was for Rise of the Planet of the Apes or for Lord of the Rings, the original trilogy. I know he did second unit for one of those. But yeah, there you go. So Andy Serkis did second unit for The Hobbit. I don't know. Let's get to. You know what? Let's get to a song because there's another panel here that I don't